I got the naughty shake. What's happening, everyone? This
11
is
o'clock on the dot.
there's a first. This is Rick. I'm your host today on the Ricksican show. Uh, I get a lot of questions sometimes, like, "Why Ricksican? What's all that mean?" And
It's like American, but Ricksican.
well, Ricksican.
Yeah.
I've spent over 3 years overseas, and I think I'm cultured. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. But I
I'm going to
made
try
I
these
made this
quietly.
rice dish one time, and someone's like, "This is Ricksican," and I love the name, so it stuck. So, Chris, thank you for the name. I liked it. The Ricksican Show, pura vida.
Hey, for those that are on all the platforms, just so you know, the chat is open. Feel free to go ahead and chat. That helps the algorithm. Like, subscribe, follow, share, especially on TikTok. Please, you got some viewers jumping in already on TikTok. Share the stream. Let's get this thing over 1,000 today. Let's get it be over 1,000 today.
All right. I don't think TikTok likes me that much. They'll probably cut me off and delete me.
They're jumping in
Yeah.
like crazy.
Yeah. Delete it. Yeah, I gotta be real careful what I say these days, and it's tough. For someone that doesn't cuss, it's crazy to me that I'm deleted. Like, whoa, it's crazy. You have to like,
Define cussing.
yeah, yeah, it's crazy. Man, there's so much going on. I went to the gym this morning, and I broke my ribs like 5 weeks ago. So I've been doing, just like not heavy, just kind of my intro weight, the warm up, maybe a little bit below that, just to see how it feels to move. Because I broke some ribs behind my shoulder blade,
Yeah.
blew two of them out pretty bad. But it's good. Like I'm doing stuff. So of course the chiropractor's like, you didn't break nothing. The X-ray, there it was. Two of them out pretty bad. So I'm a little crazy. You got to be a little crazy. So, but anyway, yeah, just trying to get my, you got to take care of yourself. And I've I've pushed and pushed most of my life, and so I have to take a step back and reflect and go, man, have I overdone it?
Yes.
You know, the little bit of time in the military, a little bit of time in construction, a little bit of time in sports. Um, you know, it takes it beats on you a little bit, but I'm still swinging the best I can. I'm just warming back up into it. You got to heal.
Have you been back to the doctors recently?
No, what are they going to do for a broken rib?
Yeah. When did they want you to follow up?
I didn't exactly. I went to a chiropractor. I didn't even go to a doctor.
Ah.
That was like 2 weeks afterwards. So I was like, man, I got this stabbing pain in my back. I landed on my front, so I didn't think much about my back. A little bit of time in the military, a little bit of time in construction. I was like, can you just check it out? Give me an X-ray. I just want to see if it's dislocated, broken. I pull a muscle. Like why is it burning so much? And
Yeah. When you pee.
yeah, why is there blood? And yeah. But anyway, they just he didn't think it was broken. I was bending. He's like, take a deep breath. He's like, that's not broken. But then he looked at the X-rays. I had like four broken ribs, and two of them were like ginky. Like, and I was like, that's what's hurting me. So I had to simmer down a little bit, and I started moving slower, just to be like, okay, I got to heal. But crazy. Sometimes you don't know you're as injured as you think you are.
Yes.
Although someone came into Rick's last week, they come in frequently, and he's a radiologist, and he's like, "How's your back?" And I go, "Have you seen my X-rays?" He goes, "No." So I shared X-rays. He goes, "Oh yeah, that's bad. Take care of yourself." And then I showed him when I broke my back in Iraq. I go, "Here's my X-rays. These are 10 years old." And he looked at those. He goes, he's like, "You're a mess inside." And I just noticed the part where the linkage on the spine is like slipped forward like an inch,
Yeah.
but I'm still out doing stuff the best I can. Anyway, he's looking at all the other stuff. He's like, see, this is in between each spine. Your should be equal. And he's like, yours are not. I was like, my God, would my life be better had you not said that? Ignorance is sometimes a blessing.
Bliss.
Bliss. Yeah. I was like, man, now I'm like, huh, that little twinge in my back. Maybe there's, something going on there that I've just been ignoring for 10 years. So I guess I need self-awareness, whether it's physical or personal, is a fun little thing. Um, I did do I did a mental health evaluation with uh, I get a little disability for being injured in the military, and so I was doing an evaluation to have that looked at, and they sent back some follow-up questions, and I don't like going there, even though it's simple questions like, "What were you doing when the incident happened? Can you clarify this and this?" They're asking me just clarification questions, but I was like, "Man, I really don't like going to places that I wouldn't I don't want to say they're dark, but they stir up, I guess, emotions and things that I'm like, you know, what happened happened, let it be, like uh but anyway, you gotta look at those things and describe things, and then you remember things. You go, huh, this also happened, and why, why did I feel, and I guess, in the end, it's like, why do I feel peace and chaos and then panic and calm? It's
Yeah.
like you get wired backwards sometimes, and you're trying to survive the chaos, and you can find peace and calm, and then when there's quiet and peace, I would panic, and I go, that explains why I was always trying to be busy, always trying to be distracted, because I couldn't handle the peace, the still. But anyway, I don't know if anyone's going through some of that craziness, but sometimes life does that to you. You get yourself wired backwards where you can't handle the peace and quiet. Or it'll be peace and quiet, and then there'll be a little distraction like a baby crying. I go nuts. I can't handle it. I'm like, got to walk. And that doesn't fix it either. Like, I got to take a walk. I got to get out of here. And it doesn't fix it. You just have to go through the process. Anyway, enough about me. But for those that want to know a little bit about me, few little things, life is happening, and you got to deal with what's handed to you, even the short stick once in a while. We all have to learn and grow. All right. So the there's so much going on, guys, and I've talked about a lot of things, and hopefully those that listen regularly, I'm not talking about redundant stuff, but uh this is kind of interesting to me that our news networks and media have been paid by government agencies to function. And that blows my mind. Being an entrepreneur, I have a couple businesses, and it blows my mind that they get sweet candy handouts. I have been denied many times for a handout, and I get frustrated because I'm like, where's my handout? I never see, I'm always a day late, a dollar short, not big enough or too small. Like, I always miss them all. Um, and I'll probably give you a couple examples of that here in a second. But Politico staffers didn't get paid because, Elon Musk is out there shutting off the valve. But it's funny when you start seeing connections elsewhere. Again, I don't care if you like Elon or love him. These are just kind of what is happening. You can make up your own decisions. I know there's these people that are like, what's he doing disrupting stuff? And then you see all these politicians squawking. Um, and you're like, huh, maybe there's something to it. Now, but it's crazy to think that for 10 years, this news media place was receiving funds from the government. And then you can get into propaganda and all that other stuff. That rabbit hole, you can figure that out on your own. But it's just crazy to me. After 9/11, I had a small business. I was part of it was a penny stock, and we were hoping to cast our anchor on a star and hit it big. Well, 9/11 hit. And I was a young buck at the time, and I couldn't understand how these two towers in New York froze the whole financial system, and the investors were gone like cockroaches and everything. In the end, I was a 24-year-old buck, and I owed like 2.4 million bucks. And it's not like I could go to my parents and be like, "Hey, can I borrow your 30,000 retirement?" Like they couldn't help me. And so I was
Yeah.
kind of alone at the time, because like there was no one to help me. And I was holding the bag for this 2.4 million bucks, and that type of money doesn't grow on trees, folks.
No.
It's not like, "Hey, can I borrow 100 bucks?" About 10 bucks, buddy. Like, there's no one to help me, um, and I had to wait it out. I knew I couldn't pay it, and I had to try to settle some debts I had. And I, when the whole thing crashed and burned, at the very end, I had like a couple $100 in
Man.
my wallet, and I drove back to California. Like, I'm a boomeranger. Mom, Dad, can I move back in? They're like, "Of course, son." And they fed me. So I mean, I'm grateful I had family to take care of me. And then um, my dad, he was like a realtor, and he's like, "Well, I got this house. It needs a little upkeep." And I was like, "Sweet." So I started doing a little bit of remodeling. I'm like, you know, good, honest work, where the other business was like a hustle.
Yeah.
You're always negotiating and all this stuff. I'm like, construction was good, honest work. And I was like, okay. So I started working again, and then eventually uh, got back into construction and became a contractor. Um, and I was able to start over. Anyway, in the meantime of all this, I start over, start saving money up again, and then there'd be the knock at the door, and I'd be served legal papers. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't even know how to handle this." These guys want $1 million. I'm like, "Hey, I got 5,000 in the bank account." It's like, "What do you want from me?" Then they go back and negotiate. 3, 4 months later, they'd hand me another offer, and I was like, "Hey, man, like, I still only have 5,000 in the bank account." It's like, anyway, it was kind of like, I'm sure they were frustrated too. How do you squeeze this, piece of beef jerky,
Young kid.
yeah, for there's nothing there. Um, but yes, I mean, 9/11 happened. There was no bailout or handout for me. I was unknown. Other people got help, but I'm outside of I wasn't in New York. Um, Even with COVID, I never, somehow always seemed to miss, the funding. And I was like, well, this is lame. And then you have friends and other businesses. "Oh yeah, I got my 10 grand." I was like, "You son of a," like, anyway, I'd be jealous. I'm like, "Man, where's this free money coming from?" I never find the money tree. So, but anyway, yeah, we go through life, and sometimes, the stars don't align for you. You got to start over. But anyway, it is crazy to me that, I've had to struggle and never had a government bailout in my life. And I was like, this little thing drives me nuts. That's all. That's
Same
my two
same thing
cents.
happened to me during the mortgage bubble. I was high on the hog. I was making money hand over fist.
Yeah.
I'd go apply for a loan, and they seconds later come out of the office with an offer. I'm like, "Did you already run my credit?" They said, "No, we don't need to. You make too much money," because I was in the mortgage business,
Mm.
and I was making sometimes 10, 12,000 a week,
Yeah.
and running a successful mortgage company. And then the bubble crashed.
Yeah.
I had residential subdevelopments going. I had commercial properties, being developed. I had, construction loans funding and all this stuff. And I remember seeing that notice on Fox News of Bear Stearns and the companies that went down as well too. I can't remember all their names right now. And it was crazy, Rick. We cut all of our expenses in our household. We were down to one cell phone. We eliminated every extra cost, cable TV, all the stuff, just to get by. And I still had a deficit of like $1,700 a month that I didn't know where I was. So I went to the state. I went and I asked for food assistance and anything else I could get.
Nope.
And they literally looked me in the eye and said, "You make too much money."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What? How do you come up with this?" They just spat in my face, and I had to do the same thing. I had to claw my way out of that, and
Yeah.
it was just because some guys up at the top were making some shady deals. Us guys that were working legitimately at the bottom were getting like screwed hand over fist.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, being self-employed has some of its risks. Like, I'm not structured to get unemployment.
No.
So I fell and broke my ribs. I was like, oh, there's a month or so I'm not working. there's no, protection for me the way I'm structured. And I was like, huh,
Yeah.
interesting lessons.
Or I'm permanently disabled, and all I get is a little thing I can put in my and I can park closer because I went to SSI and they're like, "Sir, you make too much money." And I'm like, "According to whose standards?" And because I was out of work for like, like 6, 8 months. I wasn't doing anything,
Cancer and all the treatments and all that stuff.
and I'm like, luckily, I got a cogs in the wheelhouse turning, but I was like, man, I'm wasn't living the way I was before. And yeah, I'm back on my feet. I'm moving again, and
Still
these
skinny.
really
He lost
skinny.
a lot of weight.
But I went to these programs that are designed to help people that you would think, like myself, stage 4 cancer, bedridden for months, and they're like, yeah, we can't do anything for you.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of being permanently disabled if I can't share in the same benefits as other people?
Yeah. Anyway, enough of that. Us talking about ourselves again.
Well, it
And
is the Ricksican show. We're supposed to talk
talking
about you.
about myself. Yeah. Yeah. As much as I love it, I'm sure you guys would rather hear some other stuff. Insurance companies are having a problem with asphalt shingles. They're claiming that they're only good like wind resistant for 10 years.
Yeah.
So all those roofs you got, they're like, "Hey, I got a new roof," and I put on roofs. I mean, that's how I broke my ribs. I was just starting under some eaves to get started, and but anyway, they're claiming, and this might apply more to windy areas where there's, hurricanes and things. 10 years, and so you put a roof on. 10 years later, you might need to put a new roof on, and these are like, you know, 30-year roofs you're putting on.
Hey, FYI, Rick, Wealth Row says hi to you.
Hi. So so that's on the horizon. We saw they canceled insurance in California. I've heard Florida's getting tough to insure. These places. Anyway, insurance companies have another thing to be like, hey, until you get a new roof, and then 10 years later. Anyway, it's like, what's the point? Or what is there another type of roof that they want? What's the golden ticket? You put metal on? It's only good till it blows off. But anyway, things to tuck away in the back of your mind that the rules of the game are changing.
Yes.
And I've put on metal roofs, I've put on tile roofs, I've done asphalt shingles, I've
Single membrane.
yeah, TPO.
Uh-huh.
I've installed those things, and there's no perfect system. The metal does pretty good unless the wind really gets it. But while it's holding, that might be one of your better options. Tile roof, make sure it's double felted, 2 layers of paper. But I've gone and, 10, 12, 15 years later, I've gone and had to pull up tile, put down new, more paper on some of the, spec homes that they're doing. Um, the water is designed to run top and bottom with a tile roof. A lot of your roof systems you think it's got to stay on top. An asphalt shingle, that is true. But metal roof, tile roof, these other products out there, water's designed to run top and bottom. The the tile is to keep the UV rays off your paper, off your asphalt paper.
Yeah.
And so the little things you don't think about. So anyway, what is the perfect roof? Concrete. No, I'm just kidding. Does not blow away.
It cracks
Yeah.
though.
Yeah. Someone's got to come up with a new house design. It's got to be coming. The 3D printing houses, I think they just need to fine tune that in the coming years. Maybe there'll be something there.
Do a whole house that
They
way
just
in
print
2 weeks.
it,
Yeah.
yeah, just be like, doo-doo. Uh, but they're doing stuff. So we'll see as things progress.
Hey, really quick, if you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up.
I did already. Um, so this is interesting. Those that like crypto, there's an interesting cat on TikTok, and he showed this thing in 1988 in Economist magazine, newspaper, whatever it is. I don't know. Just there's a phoenix bird with a token around its neck with the XLM symbol in it. It's like 1988. This is like pre-internet. This is pre a lot of, pre-digital everything.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to be like the future, a little XLM token, 1988. It's crazy. Um,
Hey, shout out to Logic for sharing the live show. Other folks that are sharing, keep on sharing on TikTok.
Illogic. Illogic fixes cars, folks.
He does.
Yeah.
Speak of which, if you need a car repair, call Brothers Automotive 7619744. Again, Brothers Automotive 7619744 for all your car and truck repair needs. They're there. They're the lowest price in the area, and they'll get it done quick and cheap for you. Well serviced. A lot of people can tell you. You can see their Google reviews. They're definitely hot to trot and get your job and get no job too big, no job too small. Brothers Automotive 7619744.
Hey, Illogic, I need my windshield wipers fixed. It won't turn off.
Are they stuck on?
It's off, but it's on the slow mode, and no matter it's been doing it a long time. I've just been too lazy to take it in, but it just randomly.
Shoot me a comment, a logic on
Yeah,
if that's
so
something you can do, or
uh,
let us know.
that would be a nice thing. People are like, "Why is your wipers on?" I'm like, "I can't turn them off."
Sounds like it might need to be tightened. It's a pretty easy fix, I think.
It could be a short, it could be the little replace the
Linkage in
handle,
the
something. But
yeah.
anyway, Illogic, I need help. Save me.
He said he's got you. We'll
Yeah,
call you after the show, Logic.
yeah. So that could be done anytime. I've been driving the other car, so
See, Brothers Automotive, even Rick gets his work done there.
yeah, and he'll at least for me, I don't know if he'll do it for you, but he'll pick my car up from the house, take it to his shop, and then drop it off sometimes. So like sometimes when life is happening, there's some convenience there too.
Yeah, and we do that at Brothers Automotive. They do that for almost every customer.
Yeah.
Within reason. If we don't know you, we're a little skeptical if you send us a black edition, and we're like, you want us to leave our car here and take your broken down car? No.
No, yeah, if you got a decent running deal that yeah, they can pick up, change your brakes,
Yeah, we've
bring
done
it
that a lot. We did
bring
that for Donna.
bring it back to you. Yeah, so
He
that
did it for
way
a lot of people.
and it's a nice convenience and I don't think it costs anything.
Didn't There was no extra charge, I don't think.
Yeah. So that's a nice convenience rather than what time I got to drop it off and the juggle of life, the struggle of life. It's a nice convenience.
Yeah.
Anyway, for your car needs, Brothers Automotive. Um, so Donnie brought this to me, the Stop the Steal Act. And at first I thought he was talking about metal.
Oh,
And I was like, stop the steal. Like, we don't want to, what's wrong with the steal? Like what's going on? And it's stealing. Stop the Steal Act. Congress is trying to block Elon Musk and deny him access to the government spending.
yeah.
So if you don't like Elon, you can clap, and if you like Elon, have a frowny face. Um, but I I just want to state a couple things. So Joni Ernest, a U.S. senator, tried years ago to go in and audit USAID,
Yeah.
and she got threats from USAID and they wouldn't let her staff in. They said she's like, "Well, can I see the books?" And they're like, "There aren't any." Anyway, she found them. Says, "You got to open this file for me." And they're like, "We won't." And so they had this battle going on. Then they showed her staff a couple numbers, but no cameras. You could only look and then try to remember. Anyway, uh, and so she got a hold of Congressman McCall, and they tried to work on this. Nothing. Marco Rubio, the acting big honcho over them, they won't let him look at stuff. So this isn't something that is like, you know, they haven't been transparent ever.
No, and some of the programs that I was reading on, and you and I talked about some this morning during show prep. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Like a trans comic book in
Peru.
Peru and a trans play in like Egypt
Oh, yeah. So they
with
have,
our tax
yeah.
dollars.
Politico, right? Goes right back. Politico was getting paid.
$8.2 million to Politico.
Um, anyway, but what they did find out was 30 to 40% is what they found out, what they were told were indirect costs or cost rate agreements. So it's like, is that like a loan person? And they're like, here, let me give you, we can get, we'll pull out $1 million minus shipping and handling, and then you get $600,000 of the million because of shipping and handling, because government, it's a lot of red tape in government. We got to make this happen for you. Cost rate agreements, indirect costs. And then they found out later it was 50 to 60% indirect costs. And then you had the contractor fees on top of it. So when you hear the oh the Ukraine prime minister president guy, and he's like, hey, they approved $177 billion and I only got 77 billion. Where's the other 100? Right? Contractor fees, cost rate agreements. There's a lot of money not going where it's supposed to. So, regardless of how you feel, this place has been difficult for members of Congress to audit. And this stuff they tried to do years ago and couldn't get anywhere, you know. So, this isn't a new thing. So, you know, we'd like to hope that Elon Musk isn't going to take advantage of this. If he's not paid and he goes in there and shines the light on things, um, and love him or hate him, so far he appears to be somewhat transparent. A lot of deals are backroom deals, folks, and you never hear the light of day about it.
Right.
He's been somewhat transparent. Now, don't get me wrong, him and Trump could be doing backroom deals. That's stuff that, they all do stuff. But for the most part, he's out in the open saying, hey, look at this. This is a bad apple with a worm in it. This one, the apple's gone and it's just all worms, like he's out there shining the light on stuff. And so you have to sit there and go, well, love him or hate him, at least he's being transparent. And if he continues to be transparent and reduces spending, hopefully they're not, taking that money for their own nefarious purposes,
Yeah.
like they're all dirty, folks. Everybody's dirty. That's like, so are these guys the lesser of the evils? They might appear dictatorship like, but like some of this stuff has to be done. It should have been done, and there should have been transparency a long time ago. But due to securities, right? Due to money, a lot of these people don't have to tell you anything legally. For some people, they can't tell you anything because it's fraud to talk about the real finances of, a company or a trust. So
Yeah.
much of the transparency we want, we're not supposed to see. So if an outsider can strong arm it and get a hold of the books, in some ways that's the only way it can be done. Trust, it's like fraud for a trust to be like, hey, this is what's going on. You can't talk about the family trust. You can't talk about that stuff. It's fraud. So some of the information we want, we'll never have access to. Um, and it's one of the reasons some of these things are so hard to audit. So strong on force might be the only way to do it. It's food for thought. Um, oh, I had another thought. It'll come back to me later.
Got it.
uh, the other thing was, I believe there's 60 some odd congressmen that have dual citizenship, many with Israel or other places. And I'm not saying having dual citizenship is bad, but when you have elected officials, a lot of countries, when you join uh, leadership in a country, you have to give up dual citizenship, because where are your loyalties? If 60% of Congress is a dual citizenship with Israel, where are your loyalties? Anyway, this is you know, You could think about it and be, you know, I wouldn't say, it's not right or wrong, but where are your loyalties? I think I would prefer, somebody that doesn't have, you know, dual citizenship, being able to vote on things you know, but which one do they want more? But anyway, it was like 60 or 69 of them have dual citizenship. And I was like, these are people, give it up. Maybe you can get it back when you're done serving, but like,
Yeah.
and maybe it doesn't matter if they've got it, they got it, they don't. Yeah, I don't know, but on the surface, it looks funny, at least to me. Dual citizenship. Could you imagine if Trump had dual citizenship? You know,
Wouldn't hear the end of it.
yeah. How could he run for president? Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, it is something to think about. Like I say, some of these things are above my pay grade, but it's interesting um, that so much is being brought to light. So much is happening fast. Um, I have my predictions. I've been saying that this year you'll see 100-year events happen this year. And you're going to see stuff happen all over the place. The Mexico, Canada, Greenland, all these things. I mean, Gulf of America. You're going to see things happen this year that you're just going to be like, what? How is this possible? But consider for a moment that it's been planned a long time for these things to happen. And much of what we see are actors playing their game. Trump talks to Trudeau and he's resigning. Like they're all actors. It's crazy. Oh, there's something I need to research. Um, the Canada Corporation, I heard is in Philadelphia. Think about that for a moment. You have, I mean, like the United States Corporation, I think is in the District of Columbia. The Canadian Corporation might be in Philadelphia. What does that mean? What does that mean if that is true? Oh, I was like, what? But I'm like, oh, you got, because they answer to England. Could England come over, create a corporation? They're like, they're here, like, let's incorporate it. Because everything's a corporation, folks. Everything. Your state is, your city is, everything is incorporated. That is how we do business.
I'm incorporated.
Yeah. Everyone is a corporation too, but we just don't see it that way. Some do. Some aren't aware of it that you have been incorporated. If it's in Philadelphia, does that mean we own it already? Think about it for a moment. Oh, the world's a funny place. What happens if you're like, uh, we're dissolving that corporation. Thank you very much. Restructure. Like, we're this whole show is crazy. I got to do more research on it, but I was like, wait, what? Anyway, things I need to learn more on. But it's crazy. It's crazy to think about that. Nothing is what it seems. It's crazy. So, but yes, a lot of financial things are going to happen this year. So buckle up. They'll be done in stages or steps, right? And you just got to be prepared. So, uh, because I talked about some prepper stuff on a previous podcast, and they're like, "Can you keep talking about that stuff?" And I was like, "Well, sure." So yesterday we talked how to escape and evade a dog and how to avoid thermal imaging. We talked about water. So today I was going to talk about ghillie suits.
Oh, nice.
Uh,
I have one.
so they work.
Yeah, they do.
I was in a ghillie suit, laying down in the grass, and I'd been there for 5-10 minutes waiting for our objective to appear. And some knucklehead walks right in front of my barrel.
Oh no.
And I'm like, the dude sees me. The dude sees me. And then he comes up and he's standing off my left shoulder. I'm in the prone, you know, waiting for the vehicles to come in. And this guy's standing there. And I'm like, dude, like, you're blowing my cover, man. I'm like, he's got to see me. He's got to see me. A couple more minutes go by, and I was like, oh, what do I do? I got to get this guy out of here. So I roll over. I'm like, a little bit just to turn my head. I'm like, dude, get out of here. And he screams. He thought I was a snake.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
Talking
and I was
snake.
like, he had no idea I was there. He's standing he walked like inches from my barrel, pulls up on my shoulder, and he has no idea that I'm there. And I just was like, okay, I was really tickled that he didn't see me, but I thought he'd noticed me and whatever. And so anyway, they do work.
Side story, not in combat. I was laying in some sagebrush over here in Moses Lake in my ghillie suit. So I wanted to see if they worked. Mine's coyote, so perfect for this area because they have different colors for every area. They have snow ghillie suits. They have stuff for the
So
forest.
yours is like a pre-bought one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we got it from a military supplier company, and it looks like sagebrush.
Yeah.
And I jump up if people walk by, people I knew, they go running up. Oh, Tony, what? She says, you got to knock that. I'm going to scare the crap out of someone. Well, I just did you. And then they were because I'm like, they're walking up to me. All right, they have to see me. And my face wasn't painted, nothing,
Yeah.
but they come up and I stood up and they got running. But
Hidden in plain sight. So
what a great invention.
yeah, so mine aren't store bought. It's basically 1-inch square net,
Yeah.
and you tie on your jute string or whatever.
Yeah.
And the rule of thumb is you could argue 30, 70, but it's basically 40% jute string and 60% you tie on native material.
Yeah. Some sagebrush or whatever.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, dead grass. I could lay down in the open, have nice field of vision.
Yeah.
Who's going to suspect,
I'm surprised that they don't
I'll share another story
don't
too.
offer the store bought ones to you guys. Like, they're pretty amazing.
Uh, now you make your own. You can have a store bought one, but those ones you're not really tying on native stuff. They're kind of, they have their.
We gotta have their yeah.
You're just wearing fuzzy camouflage but anyway, so it's jute string, 1-inch net. You tie it on. It doesn't have to be. People tend to make the mistake to tie too much jute string on it and just make it this woolly mammoth thing.
No,
And you
40%.
gotta, yeah, you're like 40% jute string. Uh, you know, you could, depending on the thickness, whatever, you can do 4 strings per little inch and fuzz them up. They need to be, 6, 8 inches long. And, after you tie the knots, you need, 12, whatever. You can always trim it how you want to. That way you can tie on native material.
Bushes, all that.
I mean, of course, the guy didn't see me. I looked like grass. I was grass, you know. Um, anyway, the other thing I had my, my boots are sticking out behind me like that. He could see, but they still missed me. So, of course, you got to hold still
Yeah.
because your eye does pick up motion. Um, so we were doing army hide and seek, and uh these guys thought they were so cool, but uh I had done some tracking and you have all these guys in the military and they think I'm a hunter. I never miss, right? You got all the ego going on. And so I was like, okay, you're a hunter, you can track because they caught somebody by following his footprints. And so but I was the only one there that had studied tracking. So I you got like 20 guys hunting me.
Oh, I remember this.
And so I go in and I leave them a trail to the creek. And then I leave I spend 5 minutes running around. And I left a whole bunch of counter tracks. You have all these guys in the military. And then I escaped off and then I ran up the mountain and hid in like a deserty area. I pulled a log the size of my leg, on top of me, and then I stuffed my ACH, my little military hard hat, right, and with some grass and whatever, and I just leaned against a tree and I just held there, and I had a view of a trail and like open but not open,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't know if this is a good spot or not, but oh well. So I'm there, and of course down the mountain you hear the guy cussing and swearing because like he lost my track, my counter tracks just it threw him. He was upset because Mr. Tracker there couldn't, you know, Mr. Hunter couldn't find me, and I just giggled because he, you know, I'm not a deer, you know, and if you know a little bit about counter tracking and leaving, you know, false trails and stuff, and you know, these guys don't know. Looking at a track, like I could tell if you're walking backwards, but they can't, you know. So stuff that would never cross your mind because you don't think about that stuff. But anyway, so I'm using my little bit of knowledge, you know, to beat him at his game. So they're upset down there, and then I got 20 guys crawling over the mountain looking for me. It's like, you know, a square mile or something.
Yeah.
And this guy's walking, and these two guys are walking towards me, and I hear one guy say, "Who would hide here? This is the most stupid place to hide right here." And then one guy steps over me, and the other guy walks around the tree and continues on. And I was like, "How do they not see me? I'm not wearing great camo, you know. I just hide right here, held still enough." But they had told themselves in their minds that who would hide here? They weren't looking right enough. And then another guy, you know, 20 minutes later, another guy's walking up the trail. And I'm like, I could see him and he can't see me. They walk and then they turn the little corner, walk away. And I was like, how did they not see me? Like, I see this. How did they see me? But like, um, holding still is huge. The
Yes.
Apache Indians felt that they were so good at hiding that they're like, we will wear a red bandana around our head and you won't see us.
Mm.
Like they took pride in that. And if you'll see the Apache Indians, they have red bandanas on. Now at night, red looks good because it makes you dark,
Yeah.
but they took pride in that, the red bandana. Um, but holding still will do many, many things for you. Being quiet,
Yeah.
holding still is like 60% of the game.
I was 80 pounds heavier when I was doing my little experiment with it.
Yeah.
I swear everybody could see me breathing because I was holding still, but I'm doing this, trying to as slowly as possible. But I'm watching my chest, you know, inhale and exhale. I'm like, dude, I have to be standing out, like, because
Yeah.
the people are getting close to me, like, oh, they must see me breathing.
Yep. So hold still.
So you're saying that that doesn't trigger like that small amount of movement?
I don't know.
Like I see my shoulders move?
Probably depends how far you are. Up
Yeah.
close like this, I'm looking at you. I
Yeah.
can see it. But if you're you know doing your thing and you know
Okay. Good to know.
50 feet away, you're not going to see that.
Okay.
Just hold still the best you can. Another thing that I was taught, and this is kind of an interesting thing, and this has to do with I can't explain it. It has to do with the energy world. Um, if maybe I can explain it this way. This isn't a mental concept dealing with
But
energy.
if you're
Now,
doing your
if
thing,
you're hiding,
okay, good to
you
know.
know the
50 feet
law
away, you're not
of
going to see that.
attraction.
Okay.
Just hold still. If you're looking at the enemy and you're like, "Don't look at me! Don't look at me! Don't look
Another
at me!"
thing that I
Where do
was
you think they're
taught,
going to look?
right at
And
you.
this
Right
is
at
kind of
you.
an interesting thing. And this
So
has
it's
to do
almost like
with
as
um, when the
I can't explain
Indians.
it.
It has to
Or
do with
maybe
the
this is an
energy
Apache
world.
thing.
When the Indians go hunting, if they don't say, I'm
Maybe I
going
can explain it this way.
hunting. They say,
This
I'm
isn't a
taking a
mental
quiver of
concept
arrows
dealing
for a
with
walk.
energy.
If you're, you know,
Now,
doing your
if you're
thing, and
hiding,
like
okay,
the energy you
good to
put
know.
out there,
the law
it's
of
attraction.
okay.
Just hold still.
If
If
you're
you're
looking
looking
at
at
the
the
enemy
enemy,
and you're
if
like,
you're
don't look at me, don't look at me, don't
going
look at me.
out there
Where do you think
with
they're
a
gonna
peaceful
look?
attitude,
Right at you.
and
This
right
is
at
kind
you,
of an
there's an
interesting
idea
thing.
out
So
there
it's
that the
almost like,
animals can see or feel that
when the
energy.
Indians,
And if you're
it has to
or
do with
maybe
the
at
this is an Apache
peace,
thing.
when the Indians go
Then
hunting,
they're like,
if
oh,
they don't
all is
say,
peaceful.
and if you have bad
going,
energy, you're
hunting.
trigger
They
happy,
say,
or
I'm taking a quiver of arrows for a
buck
walk.
fever, whatever it is.
If you're hiding,
Like you have
the
those
energy you put
predator
out there,
eyes,
the
and you're
law
like,
of
oh yeah,
attraction,
game time.
If you're looking
It's
at
like
an
there's this
enemy
like
and you're like,
world we
don't look
can't
at me,
see
don't look at
that's
me,
going
look
on
out
there,
there with a
and the odds are
peaceful
against
attitude,
you.
right at you.
There's an
And so
idea out there that
when
animals
you are
can
being
see or
hunted,
or you are
and if you're
hiding
Yeah.
at peace,
when the
you
Indians
can
go
play the
hunting,
game of I'm at peace.
they don't
You know,
say
it's like
and if you have
bad
going,
energy,
you're
like you
trigger
could be,
happy, or
I'm taking a
quiver of arrows for a walk.
there's predators that'll do it. Like, you have those
a
predator
predator
could be walking
eyes,
by,
and you're like,
and
oh,
if you're
yeah,
looking at it,
game time.
it'll stop and
It's
then
like
look
there's
right
this
at you.
world we
And then
can't
go back
see
to what
that's
it's
going
doing.
out there.
Like,
And the
you could
odds
say,
are against
is that
you,
because you stink? Is
that
that
because
because
you
you
went
whatever?
you
Or is that
being
because it
hunted
recognized your
or
predator
you're
energy and was like,
Yeah.
at peace?
Yeah.
I feel
can
you.
play the game
I'm moving
of
on. Like,
at
its
peace.
senses are
They
different.
don't
You know,
say
it's like
peaceful, and if
now
you
there are
bad
things that
energy,
cats
like you could be
do weird stuff, but anyway, so that is like a psychology thing that seems to work. I can't explain it. It'll stop and then look right. It may make sense for some people. It might be like, that's a load of crap, Rick. I'm like, okay, whatever. But it's a thing. So when you're in your hiding post,
Yeah.
you need to have that calm, sweet energy. I'm out for a stroll.
Nobody can see you.
Whatever happens, happens.
Don't panic. I mean,
If I don't want that guy to notice me, maybe don't look directly at him. Just have him in your peripheral. That way, you're not drawing unknown energies of the universe that we don't understand. Um, so another weird thing that I've done, maybe this will explain it too. Have you guys heard of remote viewing? This is a practice of someone going out and observing something, snapping a picture, whatever. You write down a coordinate on it. It could be anything. 1, 2, 3, 4 represents this picture. Then, in the meantime, they had guys in a room that would draw what you're looking at. And I was like, this is a really strange concept. Anyway, I was curious about it and I was playing around with remote viewing. And I was amazed that it works, that I was able to go through a process of 40 minutes and draw. It was better than a stick man on a piece of paper. You go through your process and then and it repeats and repeats over and over again, and you be able to break down what it is, and you draw it out at the end. And I'm looking at it and going, what is this? And then I click the picture and it pops up, and I was like, oh my gosh,
yeah.
how did I do that? I'm like, you know, how did I get the colors right? I was like, I don't understand this. But anyway, my point is there are unknown energies out there that are unexplainable. Maybe they are explainable, that can happen. And so if I could draw a picture, you know, of you know, a NASA crossroad airfield with a rocket on it, with colors and whatever. Now, I did have a few mistakes, like mine looked more like a phallic symbol than a rocket. You know what I mean? But I was like, you know, I was ahead of my time. I drew more of a Bezos rocket than the rocket that was in the picture. But there were some variances on it. But I was like, a rocket's a rocket. You know what I mean? I couldn't quite, with my drawing, understand the intersection roads on, like, what do you want to call it, a tarmac, or the where they put them on, they have these like crossroad intersection things on the airfield. I These lines, I was like, I don't know what this spaghetti factory is. But when I clicked on the picture, I was like, oh, those are intersection roads on an airstrip thing where this rocket is. Then it all made sense, that my phallic symbol made more sense. But I was like, I don't get how it's possible. I can't explain it, but the process worked. And so when I say, the energy you give off when you are in your ghillie suit, and I get if you're being hunted, that's a scary thing. I get when you're a hunter, there's an energy there. But if you've read, was it American Sniper?
Yeah.
He talks about. Now I'm not a sniper. I won't tell you that I am, but like he talks about some things that I've experienced. Like in the beginning, I mentioned like I feel like I'm wired backwards, like the chaos. Sometimes I'm like my heart rate can drop. I find peace, and then the quiet, a baby cries, and I'm like, get me out of here! Like I can't take it. Like I'm losing my mind, and I panic and have those emotions. Like I'm wired backwards. So. A sniper, he calms his heart rate down. He's at peace. He's relaxed. Like fall asleep, you know,
Yeah.
rest your cheek and you fall asleep. That mentality is beneficial because the guy on the other end might be like, I feel spooked. You feel the hair on the back of my neck. Like if you've got like that, the wrong attitude, it's possible that there's energy there that can't be explained. Anyway, am I beating that dead bush with a stick yet? Am I?
Oh.
Yeah, letting the spirit out of the tree. uh, but anyway, there are things we can't explain. Those are my 2 cents on ghillie suits or just hiding. Um, uh, there's anyway. There's you could buy them or make them or whatever, but it's just you know, the one I made's like a poncho, just puts on there. And I had a few times to use it in the military, and no one else in my group had one, so I always got to be the I'll go hide out, like I'll go hide. But it's just just fun things you learn along the way. I guess since we're talking about ghillie suits, like some people will be like, well, I don't have a ghillie suit, but I have some camo. What's the best type of camo? So we'll step into that.
Depends on the area you're in.
True. So the marine camo works pretty good, but theirs is kind of dissected for forest and desert.
Yeah.
But independently, those work the best.
Yeah.
But they don't cross. So in the middle is multicam.
Multicam.
The multicam uh, is the next best thing, which we use now, which I'm grateful for because the ACUs that I had to wear, I was like, this is worthless junk, like why would we have to do this? So I was real grateful when multicam came in, and now they call it Scorpion. It's a multicam wanted too much money, so they found a knockoff version
Oh, wow.
of it. So the military uses a Scorpion or whatever it is now. Who knows? Been out 9 years. Um, anyway, so multicam works pretty good. The ACU, it doesn't work as well as they had thought, disrupting cameras and whatever. Like, I don't know. I have seen it work in grass because it's got the weird green in it.
It's good in desert areas.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of works,
It's so
but
light.
it's not great. It's more of urban, urban warfare type.
Like here.
Yeah, city. It's like, it's just kind of like dull, the gray man.
Yeah.
Of course, you're wearing it, so you're not gray man anymore. I mean, if you're wearing tactical gear, like you're no longer a gray man, but it's just kind of a blah thing. So I don't recommend that at all. Um, the um, the old camo back in the 80s,
The BDUs.
BDUs,
Yeah.
it's not that great either. And there's guys that swear by it. This is the best stuff, the jungle stuff. The problem with it is black is not found in nature.
Correct.
You think it is, but it's not. You have the hues of gray,
Brown.
we have shadows,
green.
and you think it's black, but it's not. So the BDU has black in it. So if they can make one without that, it might be all right. But the shadows will turn your dark brown into whatever it is. But black is not typically found in nature unless you come across charcoal from a fire pit. um, to darken you. So I I don't necessarily recommend that one. Um, you also have different sheens.
Yeah.
So at night, um, sometimes you don't realize that your little deer hunting outfit with the sagebrush on it, sometimes at night is reflective because it's that, stretchy, silky, sweat relieving stuff.
Yeah.
And it reflects. And so some of your camo that would work in the day in the sagebrush doesn't benefit you at night when people are shining a flashlight around and all of a sudden you're like, shiny object over there. Like, is there a mirror at night? So some of your stuff you have to figure out, like, that's why we got away from ironing all our pants and everything and go wrinkly, baggy, you know,
Yeah.
get into more random natural things, and again, the Marine Corps is good at this. Their stuff is not shiny and reflective at night. So another win for the Marine Corps. Um, but yeah, there's so much out there that you can do to think about as you're trying to figure this stuff out. And everybody's got an opinion. You could take mine or leave it.
Yeah.
Some people are like, okay, doesn't know what he's talking about.
You're nailing it pretty good,
Just
actually.
because I served in the military does not mean I know anything.
But you're not just giving military advice. You're
some of
giving
this isn't
realistic stuff.
taught.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff I learned from a mercenary,
Yeah.
and some of it I've learned elsewhere. But I was really surprised, having been a Boy Scout, going into the military, and I was like, wait, they don't teach you this stuff? Like, why am I the only one that can, you know, tie certain knots, because I was a Sea Scout, like nobody knew how to hardly tie a knot. And they teach you like a couple knots and they'd have a name. I go, well, I call it this because, that's what we called it in, you know, out on the ocean or
Yeah,
whatnot.
Sea Scouts.
But yeah, so it's just take it for what it's worth. But the mercenary training was like tenfold anything the military taught me.
Yeah.
Because they're like, hey, this is, stuff that's a little more extreme or crazy. The basics in the military are the basics. They don't teach you how to light a fire
What?
in the military. They don't, I mean, it's just why.
Yeah,
They're
that's
like,
crazy.
pour JP8 on it and let her rip, like it's like they don't
I remember the training in Boy Scouts. You're in moist weather. You have one match. How do you do it? And it was like, it was a very valuable lesson. Like that should be a military thing.
you would think maybe SEER or something, they would teach some of that stuff, but like the basic stuff, they don't teach you. They're trying to put a
Wow.
weapon in your hand, take your marching orders, and then there's enough rednecks in there that somebody will know how to do it. And it might be bigger than you want it. They'd be like, I'm a red. He's like, I know how to do a bonfire, Master Sergeant. Like,
Oh, too big.
I can do a bonfire, Coach. Like, yeah, and you're like, whoa, But anyway, the whole point is there's a variety of experiences in life, and and you just, if you're interested in stuff, take it. If not, no big deal. So that's my 2 cents on ghillie suits, and then we went into camo since it kind of connects
Yeah.
because some people you're not gonna have it. Um, uh, I don't know. And you could go into face painting and a whole bunch of stuff, but like it's really up to you. But if you're marching down the street all tacked out, I'm like, you stick out like a sore thumb too. So it's like, you know, everything is a blessing and a curse. If you walk down the street with the ghillie suit on, you're like,
Why is there a bush walking down the street?
you got to get, or you put it in your bag, you pull it out. Like, there's always equipment, there's always stuff,
Yeah.
and, time and a place. But anyway, all right, folks, thanks for joining us on the Ricksican Show. A little bit of politics, life, and
Like it.
survival.
She could like it, share it, subscribe to it, and follow it.
Yeah. My 2 cents on life for whatever it's worth. So, peace out.